Today, we're going to be going over one of my favorite maps to play, Haven. Haven is wonderful for lineups, and it is also a very flexible map, allowing you to play Killjoy in many ways. Disclaimer though, a lot of these lineups are difficult and niche. I don't expect you to get some of these in your first try, and I don't expect you to use them every game. That said, let's get into the video. So for the first lineup, you'll be here in A-Long, and you see that there's this cart here. There will be 3 lineups from this cart. The first one is simple, it's for default. All you're gonna wanna do is you're going to want to just aim at this piece of wood right here. There's windows, coins, right? These things, rectangle of wood right at the bottom middle. Just aim there and left click. This lineup is very simple, very easy to use. The one thing I do not like about it though, is that it does not cover this edge right here. That means that if you plant all the way over here on the edge here, they can diffuse while you are throwing this lineup. So it does not cover the entirety of site. Most of the time it will. Now the next lineup, you're gonna wanna be focusing on this little square right here with the flower pattern. Just on the right corner, top right corner, you're gonna wanna be putting your bottom arrow and just left click. This will land backsite, helping out your team as you're pushing on a site, as that is a common place people like to hold. Now the next lineups, there's one lineup from this, just from this sandbag. You don't wanna be on top of it, next to it, and you're gonna wanna look right here. You see on this roof next to the shrubbery, there's this little thing sticking up. Just you want to look at this corner, right where this line meets this line, and you're going to want to put the bottom, if you think of your like the HUD where with the left click and the right click as a box, you're going to put the bottom right corner right there and just left click. This will land on default, and unlike the one from the cart, this one is all encompassing, and I do like this one a lot better. Now there's 2 lineups from this spot, just behind these bricks. It's a nice little spot that's close to site, so you're not too far. The first one, you're just gonna wanna aim, you see this strap, you just wanna aim in between them, right where the line, right at the top right here, just left click, nice and simple. This will land on default, and again, it doesn't get this right side, but this right side is a much less common plant spot than this left side, so I still like this one a lot. Now the next one is from the same spot. It's more open though. It will land if you plant here or here. You see this right strap, and you see this thing sticking out, this brick sticking out right where this is, where this below it. There's this line where that meets with this, and you're gonna want to throw this to the peak of your jump, and that will actually land right in front of the boxes, and it will get this left and right side if you're planning open right there. It's very helpful and can be used to stall a long time, and you're relatively safe here too. They have to push you to see you. Now this last one from long, you'll stand in this corner, and if you just aim, you see there's this wire with light bulbs, and then this awning, right? If you want to aim right here where they meet and just left click, this is great for stalling enemies pushing onto site. Like if you are attacking and they are defending and you want to stop them from pushing on a site, this is a great molly for that, because you're safe from long, and on top of that encompasses this entire area, preventing them from pushing through it. And if one of them have pushed through it, if you time it right, it can be very devastating. Now this next lineup is an ult combo. It's a very nice ult combo. Or attacking a site, typically if you're attacking with your ult, you want to put your ult right here, right? It gets the entire site, gets A link, gets a little bit of B site, gets the entire site though. It doesn't get this little corner in heaven though. So the lineup for that, you want to look at this spot right here. There's this big gaping thing all the way to the left, and you want to be along this wall, and you want to move until this kind of lines up, right? And just look right at this little mark in the box. Look at that. And just left click, that will land in that back corner. If you don't want the back corner, instead you want just to the left, you want it to land on this left side instead. Instead of making it so these line up, you make it so you just can't see it. And then you do in between these. So in between the left one, in between the right one, right in the middle, and you just left click, and that will bounce off of that and bounce towards the left instead. Now we have another ult combo. This time, instead of attacking, this is a defending retake ult. It's a very common spot to put your ult right here. And as you can see, it gets all of sight, it gets a majority of long, it gets all of short. Only part that it doesn't get is this part in long. So the lineup for that is we're gonna stand right here up against this box, and we're gonna aim our bottom arrow right in this corner, right there's 3 windows that you can see. The one in the middle, bottom right corner right here. Just put your bottom arrow there, left click, and this will 100% of the time land in this back corner, trapping whoever is in the ult and cooking them, either pushing them out of it to get detained or keeping them there and having them cook. Now, we have 2 more lineups from the ult combo, the same spot where you throw the one to long. The 2 lineups are going to land default and graffiti. The default one, you're gonna wanna look at these little pillar things sticking out, or rafters. You see that this one's painted, this one's not. You wanna go to the first painted one. You're gonna wanna look at the square to the right, go 1 over, go to the top left of this, and then up to where just above it, to where you're above the wood, and you want to put your bottom arrow right there, and you just want to left click, and this will land on default. This is great for you could use it for post plant if you somehow end up in link, but otherwise I tend to use this as a stalling molly to prevent them from planting. Now the one for graffiti is a little bit harder. You just want to look at this little wooden accent on the building. You want to focus on this corner. I'm moving out because it's a little hard to see behind the trees. You want to put your bottom arrow here and then go up just a little bit, right? So you want to do that and then just up just a little bit. And if you left click, that's it. And it will land just over the wall, clearing graffiti. This is great for retakes and this is a common spot people like to play. So I misspoke. There's actually 3 more lineups from this spot. The last lineup is very simple. It will land here for open. You just line up your crosshair with the tip of this building right here, the corner, left click, and it will land towards the right of this box right over here in the corner, preventing anyone from defusing the bomb. Now, this last lineup is a little bit hard and it's a little bit situational since you will be in CT here. This one is typically for me used when I'm playing C, they attack A, but I don't want to rotate through B. Instead, I want to rotate through CT. You go into spawn, you see these things, you just want to line up with these, just lock in place. Then you want to look at these painted rafters. You're gonna want to go to, ignoring that one, 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd one, right here in this corner, you want to put your left diamond and do a quick jump. Throw that as soon as you jump, pretty much exactly the same time. And that will land on default, cover it entirely, but it's still good as it majority of the time will prevent a plant and will do some damage in the meantime. Now on B site, there isn't a lot of lineup. The entirety of B site's in a building with not really any windows and any way to line up. But I have found 2 lineups that will go to open here and then the left corner open there. The first one to the left corner, you kind of want to just be here in A garden. See this pot, you just want to step up here, line up with the pot, kind of lock into this corner. And then you're going to want to look at these pillars, right? So from the left, you count 1, 2, you go 2, you go all the way down, you go to the first little square thing, and you're going to want to line up your crosshair with the top right. And then from once you're here, you want to jump throw, but throw at the peak of your jump. This majority of the time will bounce off of this side and land right here, and it will prevent the defuse, and it's great for post plant because you're a little bit safe, and on top of that you are still really close to window to play from here after throwing the molly. The second lineup is close to this one, but instead of locking into this corner, you jump up here, jump up, and you just line up on these bricks, and then you're going to want to count these tiles. You want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to want to line up your crosshair, the bottom right, go down just a little bit, and then do a quick jump, which means that you will be jumping and then almost immediately throwing. This will land really deep left corner, preventing them from defusing here. It will not affect the middle plant, but it will encompass the entirety of the left side plant. Now, these last 2 are not exactly lineups, but rather guidelines. If you're in window, if you hug this wall and you line up your crosshair at the top of this wood accent, no matter where, as long as you're at this height, it will land in the right spot to prevent the defuse. This is most helpful when you're smoked off, as you will still know what height to aim to get where you need to go. Now, the final lineup on B isn't a lineup, it's more of a guideline. Again, if you stand kind of right here at this pot, you can, once you edge over, and once you can see the edge of this, right? The edge of this big pillar, then if you aim up above here and just run throw real quick, that will bounce towards the left plant. And if you instead aim a little bit lower to like right here and then run throw, that will bounce towards the middle plant. Again, this isn't really much of a lineup because it's not exact and it's not precise, and it's more something you do on the fly. But if you are ever playing for this position, this is still really helpful, as they will only really see you if they're holding a tight angle right here. Otherwise, they will not see you and you can throw this safely. All right, so we're finally on C site, and we have quite a few lineups from long here. 4 from the right side, 4 from the left side. But for purposes, the left and right will be based in this direction. So this is left, this is right. We're gonna start with left side. On left side, if you wanted to plant default, then what you need to do is you need to look at these weird rock formations, right? So you need to look at the corners, like where they meet. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th one will be default plant. And if you go up from it again, 1, 2, 2 will be the long plant, the open plant. And you see that will land default and open. Now we're here at long again, and if you sit here back in the left corner, if you look at the corner of this little rock right here and you go to the left, just good amount. I like to line it up with at least this, and you left click, this will land under the platform. And if you jump throw, this will land backsite. As you can see, this one lands for the plant open, like under platform, and this one will land backsite. Now let's switch to the lineups on the right side. For the next 2 lineups, default and open, for the default plant and the long plant, we're gonna be looking at mainly this. For the default plant, you wanna line up your left diamond with that, left click. For the open plant, you wanna line up your right diamond with that and left click. They land in very similar spots, but the default one doesn't quite get as much space as the long one does. And so I would, while you could use the default one for both, I would recommend using the long one for the long one and the default one for the default one. Now, if we end up back in this right corner again, if you have it planted under plat, you want to line up your right diamond with this middle, like whatever this is, right? Line up the right diamond with that, left click, and that will land just underneath the plat. Again, preventing the diffuse post plant wise. Now the final lineup from this spot is a little bit harder. This will land backsite right here. What you're gonna wanna do is you notice this box right here. You just wanna go straight up from the box, and you'll notice that you go straight to this square. You wanna go to the one left of it. Look at the top right corner, and then go up until you're at the top of this roof and just jump throw. And when you jump throw, this will land all the way back site in the open plant. Now, these next 2 lineups are going to be very odd. These are going to be for the default plant and under platform. The reasoning behind that is if you're playing from garage, but you still want to line up, what you're gonna want to do is you want to come up here to this box. You're gonna want to jump on this edge, line up here. Now, for under the platform, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to look here at the leaves, right? And if you notice, there's this big, tall one, tiny short one, and then tall one again. You want to look at the right side of in between the middle one and the right one, and you go down all the way to the bottom of the tree, and you just want to jump through, just a quick throw. And then for the default plant, what you're going to do is just to the right of this big one, it'll be right here, and you just aim right there and do the same thing, do a jump throw. Again, the first one will land in the plat, and then the second one will land on default. Now we have 4 lineups from C-Link. 3 of them are from this corner. The first one will be for default. If you look at this like flagpole here, you just want to line up your left diamond right in the middle, like just kind of height wise. It's not too important, just somewhere there. You just want to left click. That will land default. It's great for delaying the plant. Now, if you wanted to, if the bomb was planted backsite, or you wanted to prevent them from doing that, whatever, you want to have it backsite, you want to look at these little steps. You see, you want to look at this big beam. There's the first little step and the second step. Now you want to put your crosshair just to the left in the middle between them, and you just want to left click, and this will land backsite. As you can see, These two together are great for either side. The last one, this one will land under platform. What you want to do is you want to look at these antennas, right? You see there's 1, 2, 3, right? But then this one has double. This one has 2 antennas or 2 little metal rods. On that one, you want to line up your bottom arrow and you just want to left click. That one will land under plat. And again, that would be great if you plant it there and you're playing from CT. Now the last lineup is you just kind of line up with this wall. It's not too important, you're just kind of here. And you're gonna want to line up the top left corner of your left and right click box with this edge. You wanna see it here. You line up, if the left and right click are a box, the top left corner right there, and just left click, and this will land backsite if you plant it right here. Again, you can't see the bomb from this spot, but the idea is that if you do this, not only can you delay it, but you can push them off of it and maybe have them peek out to you. Now, the last 2 lineups for the video are going to be from CT spawn. These ones are going to be on C site. What you're going to want to do for the first one is you're going to want to line up just on this, and just line up your crosshair right here. I don't know what to call this, but right here, you know, this little thing sticking out. It's like a little triangle right at the corner there, right? And you're gonna want to jump throw, but throw at the peak of your jump like that, and this will land default. It's great for delaying the plant if they're pushing onto C and you're rotating through CT. The other one, this one will land open like under platform, like right here. What you're going to do is first look at this where this sticks out, and then just go up until you're at the same height as this, right? After you have this lined up here, you just want to jump through, do a quick jump. So you want to be throwing that as soon as, basically jumping and throwing at the same time, but jumping right before you throw. And of course, this will land open and plat. I wouldn't recommend using this as a post plant because you're so far away, but you can use this to delay the plant if you know they're going to be planting for long or under plat. With that last lineup out of the way, we have reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it useful, I would very much appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, since this video took a lot of effort to make. On top of that, if you want to see these lineups used in Immortal Plus games, I am consistently live over at twitch.tv/KrazzieFR. And finally, I will be linking my lineup videos for Split, Icebox, and Bind down below if you want to see more lineups. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your games.